Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another preview video for 2022. This time it's the turn of, that's right, it's Finn Harps. How are you, Oisin? You well?
All good, Keith. All good. Thanks for having me on.
Fantastic. You're well decked out with your Harps gear in the back and your jacket on as well. Fair play to you. Actually, before we get into some of the topics here, obviously the new home jerseys just dropped. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Yeah, well, considering last year's jersey, I wasn't a big fan of that, to be honest. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with it. It's probably, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best in the past few years. Obviously, 2020 kit was good, the home one. But yeah, no, I think it's probably one of the best in the last maybe 3 or 4 years.
And to agree with you, I suppose we'll go through some of the Finn Harps incomings this season. We've Jesse Devers, Connor Torish, Rob Slevin, Jose, I'm not too sure, Carrillo, Regan Donnellan, Bastian Heary, Yo-Yo Maddy, Errol Erdal Alkin, and Filip Mihailovic. Yeah, I was rehearsing some of them names, to be fair. What do you think of those signings? Any signs you pick out to be excited
Yeah,
about?
well, obviously there's a few, unknowns there, you could say, with Alkin, or even if you're to chat about Connor Turish coming from the Ulster Senior League and so on, but the unknowns, Mihailovic up front and Alkin, a centre back, and even Carrillo, Jose, unknowns. So yeah, well, it's basically just a wait and see type of job with them players. Obviously they're coming from different divisions across Europe. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they get on. But it's obviously hard to judge them in one pre-season friendly that I seen them in. But yeah, also you have Matty there, a great signing, and even with Devers, who was with us, in the past. I was really a big fan of him, so I was really happy that they got him back in. But yeah, and overall, I mean, before coming into that, before the signings started to come, fans are casting their doubt on the board and so on. But I think they've kind of answered the call now, and they've brought in a good amount of experience. Like, I mean, a lot of them players are they're over 25. You have Regan Donlan there. That's just one League Ireland experienced player. But then the other players that are coming from Europe and so on, they've played across different divisions, across Central Europe or whatever. So they are experienced, and hopefully it'll come to fruition towards the end of the season.
Yeah, Maddy, I think, is an interesting sign because he was excellent at UCD, and at Shelburne it just didn't work. It was one of those things. He wasn't always in his best position either. So I feel he's a player that if he does well, you won't want to put too much pressure on a player, but depending how he does in terms of goals and that might determine a lot how my Harps might do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's it too. Obviously, yeah, he got a lack of opportunities when he was with Shelburne last year, but we all know what he can do from his UCD days. So yeah, no, I think every Harps fan was really happy when that came out, because it kind of came out of the blue, because I had seen a video from Shelburne, they were training with the Defence Forces, and he was in the video, and that was a Monday or so on, and then 2 or 3 days later, then or whatever, over the weekend or after that, whatever it was, he was signing with Harps, so it was a bit mental. So yeah, no, Harps fans are really happy with that one. So yeah, it'll be hopefully he'll be able to click. He looked good, in fairness to him, against Sligo in the pre-season friendly. I was out there last week, but yeah, I mean, he could be a big name for us this year. Even with the likes of Mihailovic there too, up top. So yeah, it just remains to be seen how he gets on. But hopefully Ollie can do a job with him, and get him back to where he was in 2020.
I think the concern, I suppose, for Finn Harps fans, some of the players they lost, like Mark Coyle being a huge one. Obviously, Will Seymour played well, I think, didn't he, in the second half of last season in particular. The likes of Shane McElhenney, Tunde, obviously Olabi, and even Sean Boyd. But as you say, they've replaced those players. But the question is, do you think their squad is stronger this season or a bit weaker, or is it still difficult to say because of the likes of Mihailovic and Alkin? You can't even judge these players.
Yeah, well, you can't really judge them, but I mean, considering, obviously, I've said this before, but Harps kept the bulk of their players from the season before last, coming into last season. So obviously, you would say that this, also, you don't really know what the players are like, but yeah, I would say they're a bit weaker. I'd say that would be a fair assessment until you can actually see them. It also is hard to judge, but the way Harps kept the bulk of their players. So obviously when a team is playing with each other, for a few months, they start to gel and so on, and they know different players know where they're going to go and so on, and the passes there and so on. So yeah, it'll take a wee time for the players to gel. But yeah, no, I definitely would say that they're a bit weaker coming into this year, but they can go and prove me wrong. The players that I haven't seen.
Obviously, Ollie Horgan is there for another season as well, so you got to be happy with that. I think if it was talk for a while he might have been leaving the club, or there was a lot of uncertainty, wasn't there, behind it? And I think it was vital that he stayed on this season, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's his ninth season in a row. Obviously, he joined 2013, and he's the longest serving manager in the league. So at least we have something to celebrate every year, whenever the league finishes. But yeah, it's obviously important to keep Ollie on board. There was rumors that he wasn't going to stay on and so on. So yeah, no, I'm really happy he kind of stayed on. But if he does it, whenever he does eventually, decide to hang up the hat, it'll be interesting to see who come in then, because I mean, who would be actually kind of attracted to the glorious Donegal. I wouldn't be too sure to see too many managers coming up for the job. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Ollie gets on. I don't know, he might decide to finish up whatever towards the end of the season, but yeah, it's great. It's good to get him back. And he's our trusted man. So yeah, we're just an Ollie we have faith.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Gavin Dykes is in there as well as his number 2. How do you see that going?
Yeah, well, he was here. He was here with
Yeah.
with Harps, before Higgsy came in, Paul Haggerty, and that was only for, I think it was only a few seasons or whatever. So yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously he's friendly with Ollie, so hopefully they'll have that same chemistry that Ollie had with Paul Haggerty in the past. So yeah, no, it'll be something different on the touchline this season. So yeah, no, we'll see how it goes.
You were a little bit disappointed with how they finished last season, the position they finished in, weren't you? So how do you see, what's your personal expectation for the season?
Yeah, well, obviously, people, obviously, you and the lads were a bit shocked at what I said last year, towards the end of last year, and saying that Harps kind of underachieved. I still agree with that. And this year, it's not looking very good. But then again, if you had asked me that question, around Christmas time when Tunde went to Pats and so on, and there was uproar in the fan group, people getting really worried and so on. It's changed. My opinion's kind of changed a lot now. So yeah, no, it's really gonna. I'd say the league will be tight again this year. Obviously, you've Shell in there, and they've strengthened a lot. In fairness to them, so yeah, it's going to be very tight. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the likes of ourselves and Drogheda are kind of happy that UCD are in the league. No disrespect to UCD, but I think they're odds-on favourite to finish last. In the league. So if they do that, it's at least it's a bit of a safe haul for us. But yeah, no, it's kind of. I don't know. I kind of lean towards, I'd say I would hope for something, to avoid the playoff, obviously, every year. But I don't. It depends really how the new players click and so on, and your Matty, how he gets on. Harps could be pushing up the table, but it's hard to know considering you haven't seen many of the new players. Like Jose Carrillo, he's fairly decent. Fairly decent centre back, and Connor Turris as well. Yet he hasn't proven it at that level. But it'll be interesting to see how they get on. But yeah, no, I'll put Harps down for an optimistic. I'll put them down for an optimistic 7. Just you have Shells in around there. I'd say they'll get away at some stage, but you still have your Drogheda, your UCD, and maybe I don't know. I could see maybe one of the other teams, maybe Sligo even dropping down a few places this year. Considering they've lost a few of their key players in Johnny Kenny and the like. So yeah, I'll put Harps in that optimistic 7th, but if they don't get 7th, hopefully they'll get 8th and avoid the playoff. But as Ollie says every year, they'll take the playoff.
Well, to be fair as well, looking at the players, obviously they re-signed as well, like Barry McNamee, Ryan Rainey, who was very good in the second half last season, David Webster, of course, real leader, your Ryan Connolly's, and Mark Timlin. You hope to get him fit. So they have re-signed. Like, they've lost a lot of players, but at the same time, pretty decent players have re-signed. And I think the point is that the strength of the league in the last couple of years has got stronger. So teams then the lower regions of the league are quite strong. Do you know what I mean? I think your expectation from last year came from, you saw how you felt the Finn Harps squad was, which was strong. But the problem is everyone was nearly strong to some degree, and ultimately there wasn't a big gap between fourth, ninth in the end, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I could see where you're coming across from that kind of way, but they're good players to re-sign. I still think Barry McNamee is a vital cog in that midfield, and you'd be hoping that Ryan Connolly can step into Mark Coyle's shoes a little bit.
Yeah, well, you would hope that, and obviously, Conley came in, towards the end of last season and kind of played that role
Yeah,
with Coyle, because I think Rainey was injured or whatever. So if he can do a job there. He's experienced. He played Shamrock Rovers and Galway and the likes. So I mean, he could do a job there, no problem. I full faith in him. But yeah, it's obviously great to get Webby back. I think all Harps fans and Webby. It's a Webby kind of a love relationship with Webby. Harps fans and Webby. So and even Barry McNamee. Barry McNamee would easily get into any squad in the league. In the Premier Division. So yeah, I'm thankful he chose Harps again this year. But yeah, no, it's key to get the kind of some of the players that were there. Last year, even Mark McGinley.
yeah.
He's made a few mistakes last season. We'll not lie about that, but he's still a solid keeper and a few really good saves, important saves for Harps.
He's also experienced as well, and he's been part of a group that has managed to stay up, and so it's important to keep those guys around the dressing room as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it too. And like even the likes of Mark Timlin there, he's been injury stricken over the past few years, and now he kind of hopefully he can stay away from injuries. Like he also had a spell with Derry and he had Pat, and that was kind of he was really playing well, and then ever since then the rest is injury. So hopefully he can get away without any serious injuries this year and kind of make a mainstay in the team. Because he hasn't really played properly since back in that Limerick playoff one down in the Market Sale. So but yeah, no, it's good. It's good that Ethan Boyd is back there too, and you have your few of your young guns coming in. It could be a chance for like Luke Rudden and even Nathan Logue to to throw their name in the hat, for the season.
Absolutely. So you're saying 7th?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an optimistic 7th. It's very optimistic, but it's hard to know until you actually see the players. I mean, if you had one of the social media men here to chat about this here, I'm sure they would know more. Obviously, they see the matches and so on, but yeah, considering we've only seen Harps play once in pre-season, I'm gonna go with 7th. And worst comes to worst, we go to the playoff, and we stay up in the playoff. We won the playoff because Harps are the playoff masters at this stage.
It's not been you're not a Finn Harps fan without a few heart attacks.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The ups and the joys of the greatest league in the world, and it's really refreshing to see Harps kind of have good spells in the season, and then obviously they drop off, which is a shame. But hopefully Harps will obviously establish themselves kind of now. You could say 4 years in a row in the Premier, so hopefully that continues in 2022, and we'll be there for 2025.
Brilliant stuff. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Where Finn Harps going to finish? Is Justin being a bit optimistic, or do you think they can actually finish higher in the league? Who knows? Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit your bell notification buttons so that you know what uploads are coming your way. And thanks for watching. Brilliant, Justin. Thank you.